Like, what is the thematic arc of this film?
You know, if the last movie is whether or not Peter Parker can be Spider-Man, this movie is about if Spider-Man can be Peter Parker. At the beginning of the movie, he is extraordinarily capable. You know, he is very good at being Spider-Man. There's a virtuosity there that he's so confident in the midst of total pandemonium that he may feel a little bit too confident, which happens with Spider-Man from time to time. And you know, other elements of his life may erode because of that. So I think, but really, to me, thematically, this movie, you know what, I'm not going to reveal exactly what the theme is, but I'll say something. It has to do with time and the nature of time. And the first shot of the movie, I'll tell you, yeah, well, you know, hey, it's a year for the movie. I got to allow time for people to speculate. But the first shot of the movie is a watch, a clicking ticking clock.
Well, I think it's surprising that nobody's put Electro on film before. Is that just because of the technical challenges of the character? What's going on?
I don't know, but I think for me the potential of a character like Electro is magnificent. I mean, he is eminently visual, incredibly cinematic. I think he's godlike in his power, you know, and because Spider-Man's become such a badass, like he's so good at being Spider-Man, you need to come up with foes that have very impressive characteristics and powers. You know, I think I like the idea of a villain that you know, when you come close to him, your hair starts to raise. When you touch him, it's like the force of 1,000 third rails, you know, ramming through your body, and I think that's really terrifying. How does Spider-Man stop somebody when his webs that are his, you know, primary weapon conduct electricity? How do you do that? How do you do it? I don't know. Well, I do know, but I think that was a really exciting obstacle to put in front of Spider-Man. And then, you know, it was fun to think about not just Electro, but where Electro comes from. You know, like and that's to really understand Electro, we have to understand Max Dillon. And Max Dillon is somebody who is Max Dillon's a character that may not have been loved as much as he should have been loved by those who should have loved him, you know. And I think that created in him a sense of unworthiness and maybe shame. And I think in these kinds of mythology, that sense of shame, which like Peter felt something like that when his uncle died. You know what I mean? And shame and feelings of unworthiness are universal precursors to one of two things. An act of heroism, like Spider-Man becomes a hero, or an act of destruction. You know? It just depends on the nature of your character, you know, and how you're going to channel that feeling, and whether you're going to be greater than what you suffer.
I have to say, I'm hoping you're having a little bit of fun too, and he gets to like turn on appliances like evil blenders.
He does unintentionally turn on a few appliances, but the nature of his power only starts with turning the lights out. You know what I mean, and shutting the power down. But he is. I think it's just. I remember reading the comics and thinking how terrifying it was when he could disappear into into current or into a light socket or into an electro socket. Like how do you fight somebody who can move at the speed of light? You know, you have to tap into something deeper inside that person.
On set, you called Paul Giamatti's Rhino a mechanized hippopotamus, and mechanized kind of jumped out. What's that about?
Interesting. Well, I think that was Spider-Man's viewing of that character. I think one of the fun things about Spider-Man is his wit, and he's always trying to provoke the villains to put them ill at ease so he can get the upper hand. And when he has to fight these guys who are probably stronger than he is, maybe faster than he is, maybe more brutal than he is, one of his advantages is his wit. And I think let's just say Spider-Man is smarter than the Rhino. So he's got a everybody is smarter than the Rhino. So he might want to stir up the way Rhino views himself.
You did not answer my question at all.
What? He wants to maybe, I'm just saying his perception. He's trying to provoke him.
So I really want to know if Black Cat is going to have her bad luck powers, and if she does, how do you visualize that?
I don't even know if Black Cat is in the movie. Sorry, what? Over the course of many films?
Yeah. Does that mean that the villains don't necessarily have to die in this one? That like some of them might extend into the third film?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, listen, part of the fundamental concept, the conceit of the universe that we're making is that it started like in that first movie, you know, we teased out, for example, Norman Osborn. You know, he was an entity, he was around, but you didn't see him on screen. But that allows you to unfold stories over a longer period of time, and so that you can create a sort of more nuanced, complex world. The Rhino is in the movie for a very short time because we're sort of teasing out the possibility of something more interesting happening there.
Okay, well, and also kind of talking about that world, I mean, everybody talks about how Marvel can reintegrate Spider-Man, but sort of beyond that, when it comes to like these secondary minor characters, what are the conversations you have about like who you're free to use and not use that they might want to use?
Yeah, there's a list of characters that somebody has that you know have been licensed. I don't really know exactly how deep that goes, but you know, Marvel are close collaborators, and we talk to them, and there's obviously, you know, a relationship there, and there's some characters that exist in one universe and some that exist in others, and you know, how much overlap there is above my pay grade.
Another loaded question. You've given like Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield's real life relationship. I was wondering how intense it was shooting their final scene.
What do you mean, the last scene in the movie?
I'm trying to get you to talk about her death.
Oh, well, yeah. Listen, we're not the world that we're trying to create here is like it's partly obligated to canon, but it's not, we have to also deviate from the canon occasionally. And so you know, Andrew and Emma and Peter and Gwen are I mean, there's something really joyful and wonderful about that relationship, and it's, you know, a lot of that stuff from the first movie will continue in this second movie.
People were thinking that the first Peter Parker was like too cool. I mean, were you like reading into that reaction, and did you feel like you should take a note of that here?
No, I think listen, my idea of Peter Parker was, you know, he's not like, and if you look at the comics, I don't think he was a nerd in the way that people think that he was a nerd. Girls liked him, and there is an outsider quality to Peter Parker that I think is fundamental to that character. And that element continues on. I mean, I think to me, he's more of a playful trickster than he is a nerd. But I think he's got a charm and a wit that is really important to Spider-Man.
Well, nerds just really want him to be a nerd.
Nerds are running the world. Nerds aren't nerds anymore.